Hi guys, welcome to The Identity. Thank you for tuning to Hope Channel Kenya. Thank you for being with us from last week, and we are still going to talk about communication. Thank you for the guys who have gotten in touch with us on our social media platforms. Our social media platforms are Facebook, The Identity. You can also find me on Facebook, that is Sama Mangi. On Twitter, at Hope_Kenya or at Sami Mangi. Last week's show is on YouTube, that is Hope Channel Kenya, or you can get it on our website, that is www.hck.co.ke/theidentity. Now, today we still continue with the conversation on communication at a family level and the implications it has to us. But then, I can't again do this by myself. We are blessed to have Mr. Brian Boyd.
Yeah.
Hold up the mic. Vipi?
Poa sana.
Uko salama?
Niko salama.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Next to me is Yvonne Alfreda. Hi.
Hi, Sammy.
How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm great.
You Ankara?
Mungu ni mwema. Mungu ni mwema.
Zote.
Our next director, Mungu ni mwema. Karibu sana. Next to me is our resident guest, Mr. and Mrs. Andrew Owino. Dan.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very fine.
Uko salama?
Yes.
Tim Kitenge.
I see you joining the club.
Karibu sana. Andrew, Mr. Andrew Owino. Uko salama? Karibu.
Ready for the show?
Ay, kajana. Thank you. Now, please tally with us on our social media platforms, and of course, let's get to interact now. After last week's show, there are folks who got concerned that, hey, probably kuna, I want to start with you, Andrew. Kuna mzazi anasema, you know, I did my best in bringing up this child. I did my best. But then, you mtoto kon naturally rebellious. Is there even an existence of such a statement?
Yeah, vindu vichenjanga. For family, you have done your best and just things happen. Kids pick up at youth. Or maybe something that was unresolved in them as they were growing up. They just decide, I don't want anything to do with how mommy and daddy work, I'll do my own things. So rebellion is something that we see all around. Even people who have, every other day, in the evening there is devotion. Still somebody just turns out to be a black sheep. Maybe because somebody individually, as a youth, they didn't resolve something, or they felt they were hurt. It could have been a school environment. We never know the causes of what makes somebody to end up being rebellious. But yes, there are so many you'll be shocked that this show will deal with such.
Wow. Brian.
Yes.
Hold up the mic. Is it possible for a young guy, in this aspect, to be just rebellious, as in stuck, I just want to do my own thing? It has to come from a reason?
Okay. Good thing I'm a young guy, so this is actually my question. I think it's possible. Actually, not just that. I think youth are naturally rebellious.
What do you mean? As in,
okay.
Bro. Hey! Tumeanza. Okay, just bring it on.
You must increase the heat. So I think youth are naturally rebellious. Actually, I think mankind is naturally rebellious, but the youth specifically. Because, ukiangalia, as in, the easiest way to make young people do something is actually banning it. You know?
Okay, well, that is true. That is we have to agree, that is kind of true.
I'll give a quick example. When I was in high school, we used to do short-sleeved blue shirts and long-sleeved white shirts. But guys would do long-sleeved blue shirts and short-sleeved white shirts. Why? Simply because it was against the law. So I think young people are naturally rebellious. Thank God for Christ, He changes some of us. But I think it's a concept that actually exists. Mungu ni mwema.
Mungu ni mwema, Yvonne. Mungu ni mwema.
Siku zote.
Do you agree with that we are just naturally rebellious?
Sin makes you rebellious. When you're born in sin, you become rebellious from the word go. It only takes the blood of Christ to change you from the rebellious state to being what you're supposed to do, to doing what you're supposed to do in this world. Reality is this. Personally, before the show, I was talking to Brother Boyd here outside there, and we were talking about something to do with not fighting against flesh and blood, but principalities. This is a child who's been brought up in church. They know what is going on, but the devil is not happy at this kind of person who is growing up. So Anna decide, let me go attack this person in Fanye rebellious. The once very good child, anakuwa something else, because it's a war.
Something from a family perspective, from sin and just natural rebellion, in a stage of growth, when the young man is at the transition time, where they can think for themselves, they are deciding values, they are deciding identity. If the parents don't manage that, it's also another serious cause of rebellion, where you don't know this guy has grown up, he can think, he can decide, you're still dictating terms. Nilisema hapa kwangu. When at their age, you should be discussing, why do you think we need to, you know. So that can also be another cause of rebellion.
Damn.
There are several causes of rebellion, and I think it's good that Yvonne has led us to the place of the first rebellion, if I should call it. It's a new word. And it began with the devil in heaven. He was, I think, the first recorded rebellious person from, you know, a system of operation. And it started from pride within his heart and sin in him, and now sin transferred to the human generation. So we can't totally sideline the role of sin in, you know, rebellion among young people. But what my husband has said concerning identity, things to do with self-esteem, many people don't understand, who am I? Then you're trying to force another thing on them, I'll naturally become rebellious. Then there's also people who just don't understand, or they're not included. The example you just gave of a high school where you're told, dress like this, I would question, were they involved in finding a solution to how they should dress? Because sometimes it's not that they don't want to dress like that, but it's probably sending a message that by they, we also have a mind of our own. And if you involve them, I remember one of the things I thank my parents for when we were growing up is we were involved. My mom would involve us a lot of times. She would come home with her salary and her pay slip and say, now this month, this is what we have. What do you guys want? Considering this is what we have. And we would discuss and say, now we want 1, 2, 3. But she would say, this is what we have. And I would feel that I'm part of the process. But sometimes you come home, tell mommy and daddy, I want 1, 2, 3 things. Nakwambia sina pesa. But then you should be moving out of my house. You know you are, you know. Umeshakuwa mkubwa. So you're not part of the governance of whatever goes on at home, and nobody thinks that you're old enough to, you know, to think, and just not being involved leads people to rebel. But also there's influence from other people. Who are your friends? The type of friends you have. Can I quote you? He says, show me 5 idiots around you, and I'll show you the
6th one.
The 6th one will definitely be, okay, I didn't say it. Yeah? Because these friends that you have, the type of people you keep around you will either lead you to rebel or to conform. But the question is, conform to what? And rebel from what? Because there are things we need to actually rebel from. Yeah? That's the question. How do we define what we should conform to and what we should rebel from?
You know, there's a parent back at home when he says he probably anapitia a very tough time with their youth. And he or she is watching, and how can I get to connect with this person? Because there's that battle of what is that youth's place in my family, you know? And how can a parent get to deal with this whole issue? Because we youth want to do our own thing.
I can't wait to be a parent. Any information to that. I can't wait to be a parent so that you know, every parent wants to pass down their values to their children. I haven't met a parent who just does not care about their children, or, you know, all the parents have that heart of, you know, and it can be typified with David's illustration when his son died, Absalom. According to everybody, Absalom was a rebellious guy, you know, wanting to take over the kingdom. But as David cries, we can understand the heart of every parent. It's a good representation. And David was actually a good parent. When the boy was sick, the one who was a rapist, you know that story? In the 2 Samuel 13, he pretended to be sick. David actually visited. So a lot of our parents want the good for their children, even as they grow up. But sometimes maybe there was a disconnect at some point. Maybe they were not there. And so the children did not identity. This thing Yvonne and Diane said, the children were not provided for a good identity. Maybe that's a good place to start from, to confirm to them. How many sons have had their father say, "Son, you have made me proud"? That gives the son an identity. They don't have to look for it outside. So we can think of prevention. Take time with them. The Bible actually envisions a father and a mother sitting with their children. That's Deuteronomy 6. Walking with their children, talking in the morning when they rise up, when they are on the way. When is the last time you took a walk with your son? That can be the first place to begin. Prevention as they grow up. And then suppose now the parent is sitting with a rebellious child. Well, there can be several ways. You may want to understand what are the things they are dealing with. What is the stage of this child? Are they at an adolescent stage? Then you can try estimating what things they could be dealing with. Some people could just be midlife crisis, you know, something has delayed in their lives. Maybe they are facing some frustration, open communication channels. Family should be the last place where I go to when I have a problem. I mean, I'm imagining
the last or the first place?
I said last. Oh, you are listening. Well, family should be the first place I go for, and the last place when, I mean, it's the when everything has fallen apart, I go back home.
Before you go to the next point, I also wanted to say, it is very good for parents to become friends with their children from the word go, so that they feel comfortable enough even when things are really tough. Because at times you may find they're suffering from peer pressure. And so in order to look cool, you want to rebel against whatever is happening around you. Kumbe, it's just that they didn't have a friend in the parents who can guide them and say, that is just something that you will go through and it will pass. Yeah, so it is very, very important for parents to create that friendship level that they can talk to these parents even when things are going so tough. They can actually sit down and like, tuonge kama wanaume, ama let's talk like ladies here. What is happening?
But now, Yvonne, what exactly does it mean to be friends? Because I've met parents who, for them being friends means I am all over working, getting all the money, I'll send you all the toys you want.
Giving you all the,
and I'll give you everything that you want. That for me is friendship.
Providing.
Providing is friendship. And yet there are children who all they need is, Daddy, please sit here.
We need to talk.
And we need to talk. And so some parents wait, you've been sending all the toys, you've been sending every, good thing, then suddenly your kid is grown and you're like, now can we talk? The child is wondering, where are you coming from? I don't know you. So we need to define what exactly is this, friendship that we want with our parents.
Just to add it, as I bring you in, there's this one time I was having a conversation with my mom, and she told me it was hurting in one way, and it just provoked me to think what could have led to that young man to think, or to this light. This is what she told me, that there was a parent somewhere mwenye alienda kambia, son, I love you, my son. Then the son went and said, hey, my mom, nimeanza kumshuku. Nimeanza kumshuku. There's something wrong.
Because hajawahi sikia kitu moja.
Brian.
Yeah, I think communication, I mean, are we having those conversations? See, there are young people who are daily seeking for validation from their parents. Now, I'll tell you this, I suffered for a long time with seeking validation from my father. I knew that if I made my father proud, I didn't care what the world say. You see, I don't know. I think my dad is just a typical African father, who will love you but will never say. Dad, yeah. I'm proud of you. So, because for instance, I was really good academically in school, see, and I used to do really well. And then in class 7, I changed school, and it was a better performing school. So I dropped down a little bit. And then every single time, when my father would ask me, "Where to go and number one?" You know, I'd feel like I'm disappointing my father. See, it was not about whether I succeeded or not. It was not about whether I was doing well or not. It was about, is my father recognizing what I'm doing? See, so I think those small conversations, and you see, the problem with us is that we want to do the big things. See, we want to take them to Hawaii for, you know, for Christmas. We want to buy them a Mercedes for birthday. But are you having those small conversations? See, is the mother and the daughter going to the kitchen and talking? See, can the child, you see, there's a time someone raised this concern that she was a peer counselor. The lady came and told her that sometimes just tell my mother something, and then I hear it from my father. So all I wanted was for it to be lenient, you know. And in fact, she gave an example of the lady went to her mom when she was getting into puberty and asked the mom to buy her pads, and then the next day the father is delivering them. And to the parents, maybe it was, you know, the mom was like, "Dad, I made a towel leo, watch and I made that akuje na."
Kawaida, you know, it is.
But to the girl, it's a big thing. You know, this was me and mom thing, and so I think those small things that we may sometimes ignore when you're at work looking for money for toys should be treasured and should be worked upon.
Yeah.
Now, that makes me want to ask a question, kwa sababu the parent is watching anashindwa sasa, is there somewhere that I went amiss? Is there a standard way that I should have brought up my kids so that wakue in a particular way that I can probably be proud?
Well, we can't prescribe how to bring up kids on this show. Because our need was to highlight issues of communication. You guys will agree with me. Some of the best conversations you remember is when you were vulnerable with your parent. Anybody remembers that? Like, there's a video I have kept. My mother. There's a day she sat and told me how she ended up with my father. Man, that was a good conversation. You know, never.
Every youth wants to hear that story.
I don't know, but I have that video in my laptop, and I keep replaying it, and I can relate. If this was my mother, how she made the mistakes, how life was hard at the point she wanted to give up. Those conversations set the baselines for us. And as Yvonne was speaking, Yvonne, I know your parents. I think you're very good friends with your parents, isn't it?
Yes, I am.
We praise God for that.
There's a reason why. You see the way he's talking about when you're vulnerable. This happened when I was growing up. My father used to work outside, sana, because you have to make ends meet. And so when we were grown, there was a time they sat us down and said, "We are sorry we were not there." I remember this was a time that I was
think it takes a lot for parents to even apologize. Daddy, thanks, man.
To say, "Enyewe, I am sorry, I was not
Let's
there."
do a thumbs up for Mr.
Mrs. Onivo. And
Anniversary
when
ndo
they said
tunangoja
that,
bado.
They said that it did something in me. It changed how. These days we sit and we chat. You should see me walking with my dad like we are best friends. But before that, they were far. Like, you stay there, I stay here, we will live life as normal. But immediately they said, "We are sorry. We took too much time making money to make sure ends meet, and we never took time with you." That changed so much for me and my sister. And I also believe that also parents who are watching right now, you can actually do that for your child. Sit down. If there's something that you felt you went amiss, talk to them about it. It is not easy. It's not easy, trust you me, coming and saying,
African parents.
I went wrong. Come sit with them. Ask them, is there something I did? Or I think I did this and this and this, and I think I did it the wrong way. Please forgive me. It will change a very big relationship within the family.
Before,
as you go to a break.
Yvonne picked my point, and she's made it so well. It's not just saying sorry, but as I said, we can't prescribe for parents how to bring up their children.
Yes.
But we want to highlight on this show, in a family setup, the significance of little moments with your children. That's the moment where you teach them to say sorry. You say sorry yourself. You say, "Why were you late at work?" You say what you're going through. Let your children know sometimes life is difficult. A lot of values pass through the small conversation.
Yes.
Wow, I think I'm personally learning a lot, and if you are, I do hope that you'll get to share with us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, that is The Identity. You also get to share with us on our Facebook account, that is The Identity, on Twitter at Hope_Kenya. You can also find this show on the YouTube. One thing that I'm learning from all this is that parents should, as much as kuna hizi challenges that you cannot connect, let us try, and probably what youth want is to be included, to be talked to, you know, and they need to feel validated, and parents, you're the ones to do this so that we can be able to, you know, to feel like a part of. And this whole, as much as we're speaking that they're rebellious kids, eventually they'll still come around. You're going for a short break and a talent segment. We do hope that it's going to bless you.
My name is Fabian Kisa Odondi. I am 4 years old. I play piano and I sing. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars, how I wonder what you are. Up above the sky so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars, how I wonder what you are. Up above the sky so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars, how I wonder what you are.
Hi guys, thank you for tuning in. You're watching The Identity, and thank you for being with us from part 1, and I'm hoping that your talent imekubariki, and if you have a talent to share with us, record yourself, post it on our Facebook page, that is The Identity. You can also tag me, Sama Omangi, and we'll get to air your talent. Before we went for the break, you're talking about parents to, you know, initiate this communication and get to connect with us, kwa sababu we are rebellious, as Boyd had said. But now I want to ask this. We have realized kuna hii communication challenge, Diane. Why don't youth bring this up, like, you know, mami hapana, you know? Why don't we bring it up?
Sometimes it's probably not accepted, or the youth just don't know which language their parents will listen to. Or actually some would try, or some will tell you I've tried, but anytime I try raising my voice at home, it's shut down. Or I try raising my opinion at home and somebody just brushes you off. And the only way to get their attention is become rebellious. Like the minute you're rebellious, your parents will look for you, they'll call you, they'll call your friends, they're like, yeah.
So can we say a rebellious is one of the youth to call for attention?
Yeah, it's one of the ways they're actually saying, I'm looking for you to hear me out. And many times it works. They'll even quit job and start looking for you. They'll take time off hours. So if that works, youth eventually end up learning that by their rebellion is the only way that works. And you'll find this culture it has gone up, even up to our institutions. If you try talking, nobody listens, so you call for a strike. When you strike, your thoughts are listened to. But it started from family, where somebody is trying to tell you something and you just brush them off. So the first lesson is, even if whatever the other person is saying is not so serious to you, just listen for their sake, because it's serious to them.
Brian, you're in campus, and I'm sure you get to interact with many alike. From a youthful aspect, why do you think we don't bring this up in the family?
Because it's true that rebellion, like, it almost always works to get attention. And almost always works. And see set in every family in ile story una feel like unakuwa suppressed or unakuwa opposed. Sometimes hujapata your environment ya kuongelea hizi story. You just wonder, I want to, my mom is a good person, my dad is a good person, and I know they're also concerned about this, but nitaanzaje story, as in taletaje story, how will you begin this conversation? Where is that forum for us to converse about this? We talk about everything else, you know. You get home, the first thing that asks is how is school, how are your grades, and we talk about that for the next 1 week, and then
how do you bring up the issue of you have a girlfriend?
You never even get to that.
Anytime you imeisha.
You talk about school, and sometimes that makes small talks about politics and things like that. But how do you, so I think that the young person does not get, because the young person will rarely ever initiate it. He wants it to be talked about, but he's waiting for that time when daddy will notice it's time for us to talk about this. So I don't know, maybe Andrew can tell us how do you create an environment.
Let me also just bring the other aspect, looking at it from a parent's perspective, so that we see what goes on the other side. This is a child who has been growing. Now he wants to run his own business. The parent is not aware. Like, business? The boy now wants to bring a girl. The parent's like, a girl?
How now?
How now? So in the parent's mind, you always a child. Yeah? And that brings the first barrier. If the youth now look at it that's a natural barrier with the parent, then they can culture their parents to know, I have grown. By how you manage any little responsibilities you're given. You're given 2,000 last semester, and you actually gave tithe, for those who give tithe. You did, you managed it, or you produced some more money and told mommy, that money you sent me, it did this. Or you are not, but you're given the money and the next day you went and betted it, all of it, something called betted. All of it, and the next week you want some more money. Your parent, because you're a child, you need to be managed all the time. You can't be given, a platform to talk. So some of this airtime we buy for ourselves. I remember when I graduated, I refused not to go home. The reason is there was nothing to do at home. I had to, find myself. I had to live somewhere. Hata kama ni nyumba ya 3K. I had to find some area to live. In that way, they started looking at me as, oh, this guy is independent. He can do his own things. So when I went home, I could actually dictate something. I could say, hapa nyumbani, tufanye hivi. So there is airtime you buy for yourself. I like giving an example with Diane. Most of you will not be allowed to be married. When she was. It's because she would literally manage their own home. I used to notice this. She would be sent to town. She would be given money. She has to get fare in it, shop. Even if she is not given, somehow she has to. That show of responsibility, it creates for you airtime. That's what a youth can do to buy for themselves airtime of conversation. So how do you manage your little space? I went out. Who did you go out with? You come back and say, Daddy, I was out with the Gong youth. And we did 1, 2, 3, and you came back in good time. Your parents decode this guy is responsible. So next time you can say that while we went out, there was this girl. It will be edgy for the parent, but they listen to it for the
because
you make
you have both.
Then now there is this girl. Then you bring the girl home, and you have arranged how cooking will be done, not you bring home and you're careless, you don't know what's going on. Then you bring them home, you can see the progression. Then another day you say you want to get married. If I'm the parent, I'll say, this is a responsible boy.
So you just don't come, utoki msitu alafu expect your...
There is a role for parents in creating an adult. You see, I learned this from eagles, that when an eagle grows up and they had, you know, their little, they called chicks or eaglets inside their nest.
Eaglets?
Yeah. They start making the nest a bit uncomfortable, so that the little eagle can learn how to, you know, make their own nest and fly and move out of home. But a lot of times the processes in our homes don't prepare us for adulting. So you have this youth who has finished campus and now adult life hits them, but home life did not prepare them for adult life. You know, you're given pocket money, like he says, and nobody calls you to account for what you spent that pocket money on. You get your first salary and you blow it out, and there is a landlord waiting. Now you have to go for a loan, you go pick a loan, and now you have, you know, loans following you, because nobody taught you that in adulthood you really have to spend your money and account for it nicely. You know, you're living with your parents, there's always somebody cooking. Yeah? Then now you have your own house. You can't afford to pay a cook to cook for you. You've never learned how to cook. So what do? You go buying, you know, food pizza from someone. Then you realize, oh, this doesn't fit into my status salary. And life becomes very frustrating because nobody prepared you how to be an adult. And for me, my parents did. Like, they would leave the house and I would be left to run the house. Like, literally, she would travel and give you money and say, survive the weekend, decide what you're going to cook. That was an advantage for me, like he said. But I would say many youth probably lack that opportunity because there's always somebody watching over them. Even going to town, you know, you wanted to drop something in town, then somebody tells you, can you go with the driver? Or so, nani atakupeleka?
I would want to interject you and ask a question that you just brought it up, and I'm sure ndo hata enjoy hii, lakini acha tu niulize. Mbona wazazi wanakuanga so hard on firstborns? Hivyo. Mbona yani kwa sababu kuna firstborn fulani tu yani anaishi tu kivyake tu ataki kwa sababu life was too hard.
You have to be an example to the rest. Period.
So wewe ndio
mtoto akifanya marking scheme, ulikuwa unaangalia wapi? Wewe ndio unachapwa na ni mtoto amefanya makosa. Sisi we were just born to, so I suffered.
Was that making her a better person ama ilikuwa tu hardship?
Part of me when it was starting off, I was like, mbona ninaonewa sana, and I had beef with my sister. Literally, I was angry. Should ask her one day when you need her. She was wondering why I was so angry at her. But it's because every time she would do a mistake, firstborn.
Ulikuwa wapi? Akifanya nini?
Probably I wasn't even in the same room with her. If she goes wrong somewhere, why didn't you tell her? Somehow I am thankful for that because it made me understand that I'm supposed to be responsible for this and this and this and this. But when I was younger, I couldn't understand why that was happening. I couldn't.
Last bonds.
For firstborns, one is parents want to transfer their values.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and let me add something parents were not expecting. They want to transfer their values as fast as possible and disappear from the scene. They hand over. I think that parents
about the second bonds
give everybody an opportunity. Let the second born also be just treated their own way.
Yes.
Because this sibling rivalry thing, you want to read the story of Joseph, is not very interesting. It can cause bad stuff. And then there is also too much pressure you put on firstborn so that they are like, if I don't make it, I have failed.
I am minimisha. I don't have a future.
It's important that the firstborn might cut himself or herself out as not the successful one. But they are very important. They shape the family. Everybody has their own. While I agree that most firstborns end up like the conversation outside. But
before to run the show? Wait.
I also think sometimes parents assume that firstborns are like parent
Mini parents.
yeah,
parents.
like they are mini parents. They don't give them the opportunity, like
Deputy
deputy
parents.
parents. They don't give them the opportunity to be a child. And perhaps that's what we lack. That every child just needs to be
Yeah, a
to be
child.
a child,
Yes.
and ensure you parent each of them.
Yeah.
Firstborns poleni sana.
Expectation.
Firstborns, mimi na Andrew hapo tuko
Like the firstborn to learn.
lastborns tuko tu sawa, lakini sio ti opportunity mkue vichwa and buit. Now in our peers sometimes we get to realize maze kuna vile Yvonne ko rebellious, and to you being, I'm just using as an example. See. So now you get to realize kuna vile she's rebellious, and you realize that her influence is going to affect you, and you being the good person with good standing, you want to be like, pana, there's a way. How can you get to approach such a person?
So as a peer approaching a fellow peer who's rebellious.
Yes.
Of course, I've been in that situation several times. At home, I'm the ambassador's leader. I think I became ambassador's leader a bit too early.
Kanisa gani hiyo tena?
Nataka kuuliza conference. Angalia maneno. So, I was at a point where now parents would come to me and tell me, hey, nani siku hizi?
Siongea na
ongea na nani anakuja nyumbani amechelewa au anaanza kukunywa, you know. Now, first thing is, if you tell the kid kwamba nani daddy ameniambia hivi, now the kid goes ballistic. That is not trustworthy. Anaibisha mbele ya watu. But then you still need to do it. So I think what I came to learn through time is that, one, create a relationship with those people who are rebellious. Because I think once the rebellious kids have received enough judgment from the world. You know, most of the time, once every adult is like, usikwe kama nani. You know,
point of reference in a negative statement.
You know? And then the young people, the good ones already wanna avoid because Mamesha Sema is tembene, and the bad ones are glorifying you. See? So you're suffering from from the negativity from the good people, and you're also enjoying the praise from the bad people, which is urging you on. So when a good person comes close to them and forms a sincere relationship with them, once they realize, we're there. And usually most of the time, the rebellious kids will listen to you. So the time of land, they actually listen to you. They realize, you're not like the rest of the guys who are praising them. You actually have a more worthy desire for their life than what the rest of them have. So I think the first thing is form a sincere, loving relationship with them. Then second, try to understand the root of it all.
Do not go with an intention of, I'm coming to change your life, my brother. You know you have to receive.
I got an experience with a friend who happened to be rebellious, and he told me that the mother was judgmental. Rebellious here aliingia into alcohol. The mother was so disappointed. How can we are elders and deaconesses in church. But one day, this is what changed his life. One day he came back home, drunk at night, and the father went near to help him nurse the hangover. And then he just thought by himself and said, I don't want to hurt daddy again.
He doesn't deserve this.
Just left like that.
Yes.
He doesn't deserve this.
That touched me. I thought that's a good explanation of what it is saying, of just not judging them or giving them a privilege to know you're not that bad.
Wow.
Speaking of that is difficult.
Hey.
Yeah, that's really intense.
Parents should reach out.
Yeah.
We receive a lot of judgment from everywhere.
And when somebody goes to become rebellious, nobody wakes up and just say, mimi mtaona venye nitakunywa pombe hii dunia. I mean, people are responding to something bad, something already. I mean, they're not you. You're okay. That's why you're not rebellious. They're responding to something already bad. Either they have failed, their life is not adding up together, or they are not seeing a future. They are at a disadvantage. That's why I respect what you are saying. The perspective where you want to be friends, you want to have confidence in the person. In fact, there is, even at home, I have tried it, there is no better way of letting people to respect you or to respond to change than an environment of love. I tell her she has what we call unlimited love. She can do anything. There is nothing that will make me change. There is nothing that will make me angry or annoyed or whatever. That is the best environment for people to become their better self.
Over the past few episodes, we have been touching on very many issues and specifically focusing on how social media has impacts. Now, we are going to have a short insight on how social media, how we can use social media on a family level to be able to marry the differences. Be blessed. Thank you so much for being with us. Now we are coming to a close, but there's some few issues that we still need to bring out. Please share your thoughts on our social media accounts again. Please, we can't do this without your input, Diane. After the mic drop situation in Andrew create up, I was just thinking of a hopeless parent mwenye kwa kule nyumbani. Is there hope to redeem that family using communication?
Yes. I'd like to take us back to the beginning. We said there's some parents who have probably done their best, they've put in their best, but somehow your child just became wayward for several reasons. And we said rebellion, first of all, is a spiritual matter. It is, in as much as we have many other good reasons for rebellion, but the primary reason is spiritual. So spiritual problems are solved spiritually. Pray for your child. Yes. Fast for them if you can.
Actually, you have.
We need prayers for young people, especially from our parents. Don't give up on your child because they've run away from home or because you think they are living a wayward life. Pray and pray for them. Then I would also wish to say that there are certain cases that probably need professional help. There are young people who are battling issues. They undergo abuse as children, and they just realized it when they're adults, and now their wayward behavior is traced back to abuse in childhood. That could have probably happened in your home, but you are not aware. This might need professional counseling. There are people who are battling addiction to betting, to sports, to gaming.
I think
to
right now
alcohol.
betting they go leading.
Yes. Yeah, and to several drugs, and sometimes they really want to leave, but the withdrawal symptoms that they have after that just keeps taking them back. back to the alcohol, and sometimes you need medical help for this. So you don't have to, you know, struggle or keep beating them or locking them up in the house. You can seek professional help for this. Yeah, then also have a good support system around you. You know, there are parents who don't have a good support system yet. Another parent has probably gone through the same thing. And also for the young person, there are young people like you who have gone through similar things and have come out. So don't fight life's battles alone. There is nothing new under the sun. There's no reason for you to sink under weight of so much, yet there's somebody else who knows how to solve your issue in, you know, just a few minutes. Yeah, so have a good support system around you.
Let me help her make that point where people are having battles and somebody's on their own. I don't know if families experience this. You are the only boy, maybe you're in the city and your family is at home. The only time you get a phone call is when they are broke. In fact, you always know ukiona a phone call from your mom
the first thing is ni nini tena.
I wonder, can we take our communication? Can I just call my mom, how are you today? Not every time I call my mom, I always have to send her money. You know, I think we let life to, I don't know whether it's the African issue or it's just something we need to step up on, where we can communicate on regular issues of life. Yeah, I saw you on a talk show. So you guys nowadays do a talk show, call me phone, you know, you did very well. Then you hang up, that's all. We start building up bridges. We start building bridges on normal talk.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. I want you to pick up that mic and I want to ask you something. Mr. Odipa on Facebook?
Yes, my dad is on Facebook.
Is your mother on Facebook?
Yes, she is.
Ni marafiki zako?
Yeah. Walinitumia friend request na singekata.
Ilikuchukua while ndio.
No, I'm the one who introduced my dad to Facebook. By the way, I think that was just a serious move. No, inaitwa retirement.
Keep busy.
Keep busy.
Wanakustalk.
Well, they like everything I put. So
wanakustalk. Wanakustalk. Wanakustalk.
They like, and at times, some things I put, you can put them in some problems or something. Zile za unapata some friend somewhere anasema, hey, no mwona Kenyaweka. Is there some information we're supposed to get? But I don't think really it's stalking because we are friends, so it's not really stalking according to me. But according to someone else, it could be stalking. Depending.
So what is stalking? Tuanzie tu hapo ndio as we wind up. What is stalking?
Stalking is, kwanza, it's negative. Because what is the motive behind why you're following what they're doing? So when someone stalks you, they'll not like, they'll not comment, but after they have seen what is there, so they discuss things with other people, at times not even you. And some of it can be negative. Okay, most of it is actually negative because it is stalking. If it is normal friendship, like, and life goes on, then, well, that's not stalking.
Brian, I want to bring you in. There's a gentleman I interacted with. He has a daughter. And aliniambia huyu msichana kuna pale nazaenda na nisijue. Hakuna message anazotumiwa na nisijue. As in, he's on the loop on everything. Is that a bad thing? In the current generation. Is it a bad thing? Is it a bad thing?
I wouldn't want to be that. I don't know if it's a bad thing, but I wouldn't want to be that child. I'll trade that part.
You know you don't want to be that child, but
I would trade it any day. But okay, I think one, I think it stems from insecurity. And while I find many times people trying to attach a cause for this, mtoto wako akibehave vizuri, mtoto alikuwa akiwa high school alikuwa sawa vile alienda Nairobi lazima uchunguze because you don't know how creative anaweza get akienda serve the city. But sometimes you even find parents talking really good children. I have live examples on live. Anyway, I have a friend mwenye Malanaka, the landlord, is a friend to the parent. Now that is her. You know, so you always need to act straight the moment you enter that room, because in whatever you do, you relate to the parents. So I think first, sometimes yes, it may be that the kid has not, as Andrew said, has not bought his airtime, and which is important for all kids to do. You know, I may thank my father because I'm at that point where my father trusts me, and it's the best feeling, by the way. Hey, Dad, yeah, thank you. But I think sometimes also parents are just insecure. And probably it's because they feel they have not equipped their kids sufficiently morally to be able to stand in the outside world, as they call it, and the outside world is always bad. Sometimes they have that feeling that ubo ni mtoto, so lazima umchunge. You know, they still have this daycare mentality. You know, kama mtoto bado kindergarten. And I don't know what the solution to that is. I can advise my fellow peers what they should do. And airtime, be responsible, but sometimes it's
be responsible.
Yeah, but sometimes it's very tiring. You know, when you live under the radar, you tend to be overcautious because you don't really know what they define as bad.
There's a watchdog somewhere. Kuna CCTV.
Some parents ni kama katiba ya Kenya. You don't really know what is a crime.
You know, out of rebellion, that is what created Ifikie Wazazi.
Hashtag Ifikie Wazazi.
Hashtag Ifikie Wazazi. It was out of rebellion. And so you find that because my parent who ana stock sana hapa, let me put something that she can talk about.
Though, I think stalking is not necessarily bad. Now thinking as a potential parent. It depends with the age of your child, especially when you are speaking about social media and things like that. Because if my child is 12, there are so many dangers on that thing. I will not just be comfortable that this kid is an adult. Let them have their space. My friend, I will check. I will investigate. I will snoop and know everywhere in that room. Because I know that eventually, God looking at me as a parent, God gave me responsibility over this kid.
That is true.
But if you're an adult, my work, I have equipped you, you know, all through life, and now I must let you become an adult. But even if I'm letting you become an adult, I'll stand and watch from afar,
a distance,
and follow you along just in case you need me. Now that means I'm not now, you know, stalking and snooping and doing every other thing, but I'm there just to give you guidance and to show you that, okay, here, please do like this. But there is a role for parenting that even if, you know, youths complain, a good parent will know what their kid is doing. They'll know where you are, who are your friends. Even if you're an adult, they'll find a way of knowing your friends. Who is it that you keep chatting with on your phone? You know, they can just start a conversation until they know that by the person that she likes chatting with most is
but
this
that's a friend.
Yeah,
no,
because
they are friends.
But at a certain age, you really need to snoop.
Brian, as you come to a close.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's this interesting question I've had my parents ask my elder sister and then the other sister, and they asked me once, ule rafiki yako anaendelea aje? I always know that question, so
as in tunajua, you know this thing.
But I think two things that I think I will bring into this. One is that your kid will spend most of his life in adulthood. You need to spend childhood preparing them for that. See, utafika 18, then suddenly you want to undo all that you've done. And I think that's one thing that I bring along, stalking of adults. Mtoto 12 years, where they stalk me. You know, sometimes I won't even, you know, a child like on a short-sightedness. Sometimes they do things they don't really know the eventual end. But you've been there for like 40, 30 years, you understand these things. But for an adult, if you've equipped that person sufficiently in their childhood, you'll be able to entrust them with adulthood. So spend the early years of the child preparing them for adulthood, entrusting them, increasing responsibilities. Some guy was teaching and saying, mtoto akiwa miaka 5 umnunulie sungura, kifika miaka 9 umnunulie jogoo, kifika 15, by the time they are 20, you know, you can actually entrust them with the world. The second thing,
as you come to a close,
the second thing is, actually the train of thought I think has just stopped. Let's
okay, as you come to a close, Yvonne.
Personally, I'd like to advise parents, take time to learn your children. If they are grown, take time to relearn them, because it's like learning a woman. The first time you met, it was primary school. You started courting, it's secondary school. You get married, you go to masters, then you go ahead to get to PhD. It is the same with your child. Take time to learn your child. Number 2, remember we are fighting not against flesh and blood, but principalities of darkness. Rebellion starts with the devil. So fight the devil with Christ.
Amen. Damn.
Mine is the exact opposite of Yvonne. It's for the young people. Take time to learn your parents.
Very important.
It's important for you to understand their mindset, how they grew up, how they speak, what's their language, what are their fears. Because if you understand why they're snooping around, you'll understand, oh, my mom is just fearful that, you know, I might meet someone who is not so good. So now you can be able to calm their fears and tell them, oh, mommy, I know you really care about me, but I'm okay. So there is a role for us in everything. If you knew how to, you know, respond to your parents, to understand them, to search what are their concerns, then you'd know how to respond to everything. Then, if you're an adult, please be an adult. Because there are some of us who want to be treated like adults, but we don't act like adults. So how do I trust you when, you know, your behaviors from the morning to the evening are childish, then you want to be given adulthood privileges? Those privileges come when you act like an adult. So if you want to be treated like an adult, please act like one.
Yeah, I think it should be very simple. Be friends in the small things, then you'll be friends in the big things.
Amen. Andrew, crown this.
Well, this has been about communication in the family. Family is the best setup where you can learn important aspects, like just showing love because you want to be paid. You know, nobody will pay you because you loved your sister. So just pick up your phone and call them up. You learn important information that later when you're in the workplace, you can always care for your workmate without expecting payment. You have a wife, you will, you know, just call and say, hi, I just wanted to find out how you are. So family is the best kitchen for cooking up these things we are talking about. So go back to your home, communicate, you know, love your wife, tell them you do, love your son, tell them you're proud of them. Let the lady, let the girls at home hear from you, daddy, that you love them before they hear it from a young man experimenting with that word.
Thank you.
The girls would be bad.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your insights, guys. We do hope this session has been a blessing to you. If you would like to ask a question or comment, do that by getting in touch with us on our social media platforms. That is Facebook,
I've just remembered something.
Okay.
Of talking, man.
Okay, sir. Please, quickly in a second. Quickly in a second as we close.
Oh my goodness, really? There is an age where when parents talk their children, it's bad. Like, I've left my phone, you go check which sites I go to. Let's agree that privileges for adults. I mean, you're given a privilege to, but suppose I messed up, then I come and find my father was on my phone. At some age, it's annoying, I think. At some age, it's annoying. Parents need to trust their children that they will come right. Even you parents, you didn't do things right all the time. There's a time things go bad. So allow us to want to come back to you.
Let us give us room to make mistakes.
Ile distance Jidana alisema, don't be like, I've not even started talking to the girl, you really thinking, Yon is talking, Mazu. Yon is talking. But also on the flip side.
Okay.
There's a flip side of where the youth need to reassure their parents that they are actually safe. That's why they always want to check what sites are you going to, who are your friends. So when you make these things plain and open, that reassurance comes in. I want to comment on that stuff.
Okay, sir. I think it's time I just take this mic. Haya. Watu tumemaliza ukweli sasa. Tumemaliza. Now get in touch with us on our social media platforms. On Facebook is The Identity. You can also get me at Samuel Mangi. On Twitter at Hope_Kenya. You can also find me on Twitter at Sami Mangi. This show is going to be on YouTube and concurrently on our website, that is www.hck.co.ke/theidentity. Now, thank you guys. I had to take away that mic from you, lest Andrew kumbuke kitu komesa. Well, I think I'll just reckon, say if you're an adult, be an adult. You know, this rebellion, it's a call for attention. So let us look for a best of getting to us, and let us as youths open up, because the only thing they want for us is the best. So don't shut them down. Don't shut down that door of communication, because it's for your sake. Till next week, be blessed. Oh, I've forgotten something. Why really?
I couldn't.